Guys, real quick, for oil filter housing, here's the part numbers for the block 2 housing gasket. It's right here, right there. Here's the oil cooler to the oil filter housing gasket. It's right here. That's the part number. And then what you do is you remove the intake. You got to take the studs out, take the 3 studs out as well, and take a screwdriver and pry it open so it stays that way. So then that way it'll allow you access to get to this E10 bolt through here, and then it goes right there. And then this is easy. This one, you're gonna use a ratcheting E10. 5/16. Go in there like that. So the torque spec is 22 Newton meters. Just double checking it, and then remove that hopefully without and do this one. Try and do this with one hand, sorry guys. That's a little bit over, but that's still okay. And then for that one, unfortunately, since I'm not taking this pipe off because this cracks right here, so unless you have that aluminum retrofit kit, don't bother touching this because you'll break it. I'm just gonna get it to sit flush, just like the top part is, down at the bottom here. And I'm just going to use a ratcheting E10 that goes in like that. Yeah, of course I'm going to get on there for the video. There you go. Like that. Just keep going. It takes forever, but eventually you'll get it. And then for these, I believe it's also for these 3, they're right there. I believe it's also 22 Newton meters. You're also gonna need some bolts. You don't need to change these, but here's the part numbers for the bolts. And then these are the studs for the intake manifold. These are the bolts for the intake manifold. Here's the old top bolt. This is the old bottom bolt, and then I have to reuse one of them. This is for the heat exchanger, the coolant heat exchanger here. And then that's it. You can also replace the sensor, but you don't have to. Unclip this connector. You don't have to take the cover off. You can leave the filter in there, but we're gonna do an oil service after, so it's gonna come off. And then this, you just like bungee to the hood. You don't have to take off the top part. See, it's still on there. It just like clips off at the top. And that's a pretty simple job. Build time on this is like 4.5 hours, so it's doable in like an hour and 40 minutes, so you can actually make some decent progress on it. Here's the you got to clean this area off. I use a brake cleaner and like a microfiber towel, and then install that new gasket. Make sure it's seated in there real nicely, because you don't want to redo this job if it's not in there correctly. So really take your time here. Take a couple minutes and make sure it's all in there correctly along the whole perimeter. And only then, once you're 100% sure that this gasket's not going anywhere, then you can carefully attach this oil cooler. And then when you tighten these bolts up, regardless if it's to the block or to this, you got to go in a sequence. So you got to do, like, for instance, you could do like 10 Newton meters, 10 Newton meters, 10 Newton meters, and then 15 Newton meters, 15 Newton meters, 15 Newton meters. And then you go finally 22 Newton meters, 22 Newton meters, 22 Newton meters, right? Because you want it to like sit up against it perfectly flush, not like crooked in some way. These here go to 16 Newton meters. I like to go to 18 on the intake manifold. And this is all put together. So we'll clip in last. Some more tools. E6 for the studs. E10, 5/16 pick, E10 swivel, E10 swivel long, E12 for these. There's one on the bottom here. A short one like this with a head that swivels like this, or the one that sits way back there for the intake manifold, all the way in the back. So now what we're doing is bleeding the coolant. You can hear it. You gotta set the ignition into number 2 and then hold the gas pedal for 15 seconds without starting the motor, and it'll bleed your electric water pump. We also did a full oil service on this with 540 mow tool. You're gonna wanna let that run, and when it's done, in 10 minutes, you can start the motor.